Guys, we continue with the second part. I just cut it short because is a bit too long, so I didn't want it to be too long. So mind here that we have multiplication here. We don't have any plus or minus. We're not gonna take out any common factor. It's just a matter of changing, reducing, all of those things. So here we have 90 degrees minus theta. But we know that if we see 90 degrees is a cofunction. 90 degrees and 270 degrees are always cofunctions. And sine behaves the same as cos. So if we say something like 90 degrees minus theta, it has to change to cos because they are cofunctions. Hence, that's why this here would therefore change into cos. But then we ask ourselves, 90 degrees minus theta, it's 90 minus an acute angle. So my 90 minus an acute angle would always, it would be in the first quadrant, because if we take any acute angle, let's say 50, 90, let's say if we say 90 minus 50. In this case, we know that 90 minus 50 is 40. So it's in the first quadrant. So we know that in the first quadrant, all the trig ratios are positive. Remember from what I said. Hence, that means it's going to change to its cofunction, which is cos. But cos will not be negative in this case because sine is positive in that quadrant, and then the cofunction will take the sine of the initial trig, what's this, the trig ratio we had. So it's gonna be cos, but what? Cos theta. Perfect. And then tan negative theta, we know that it's a negative angle, and in a negative angle is always in the fourth quadrant. And because it's a negative angle, I know that tan in the fourth quadrant is also negative. So this becomes negative tan theta. We're going to apply some identities here also, here and there, but you're going to see. So this is a negative tan theta, which is also divided by, in this case, we have cos, right? So this is cos, open brackets, 90 degrees plus theta. Because it's 90 degrees plus an acute angle, it's in the second quadrant. Because if we take any acute angle, let's say 90 plus 50, we get an answer of 140 degrees, which is actually where it's actually part of the second quadrant. So therefore, in the second quadrant, we first ask ourselves, is cos positive in the second quadrant? No. Cos is not positive in the second quadrant. It's only positive in the first and the fourth quadrant. So that means this will therefore be a negative, but it's going to be negative what? Sine theta, because it's its cofunction, right? Then if you look at it here, basically this is a negative tan theta, right? So basically my answer has to be positive. I can just cancel it out already, and I already know that I have two negatives, so if they divide into each other, I'll actually have what's this, a positive answer, right? So I can just say that this is basically sine theta, and then cos theta, and then you have tan theta over sine theta. In this case, they can actually cancel out, so you can have this, you can have this and that dividing into each other. Then you have cos theta. In this case, you basically have cos theta, and then tan. What do you think about tan? Tan is actually an identity, so that means we know that sine theta over cos theta is actually equals to tan theta, because it's an identity, right? I think we know our identities, and we're gonna go through them as we move on, right? So you have sine theta over cos theta, which is equal to tan theta. So I'm gonna change this to sine. So this becomes sine theta over cos theta, which is just the same as actually saying, it's actually the same as saying tan theta. So in this case, cos theta will actually cancel out with cos theta, so because they're like the same, so they'll divide into each other, and then we're left with a single ratio, so it's like sine theta divided into 1. So that means your answer would actually be sine theta, and this is a single trigonometric ratio, and then you get your full marks there, sine theta, right? Perfect. Now that we have sine theta, we're gonna be able to, it's gonna have, I don't know if we're gonna see what way it's gonna take us, right? So we know that our answer there is gonna be sine theta. Perfect. And then, okay, now it says here that hence, so hence, right, hence or otherwise, without using a calculator, solve for theta if theta is an angle greater than 0 degrees but less than 360 degrees. So in this case, we've already solved this part of the question. We know that we had sine open brackets theta minus 360 degrees, which we've already done here, and we actually got a single trigonometric ratio. And if you think about this, guys, we're actually given that it's equals to 0.5. So imagine that we're told to calculate the value of theta, which is an angle. So if you look at this here, guys, we can translate this into an equation, right? And this is 5.2.2, right? We can translate this into an equation. So if we look at it, basically all of this here is equal to this trig ratio. So that means, imagine if I say sine theta now is equals to 0.5. Can you see where it's taking us? Now, I think everyone knows that when we have sine theta equals to 0.5, we normally solve for theta in the way. So we normally say that theta is equals to the sine arc of this ratio, which is 0.5, and then theta, I think it's gonna be 30 degrees. Let's just check. So you're gonna have sine arc 0.5, which is 30 degrees. Yeah, so you're gonna have an answer of an angle of 30 degrees, and it makes sense because they're telling you there's a statement telling us that your angle must be greater than or equal to 0 or less than or equal to 360, and this actually satisfies because it's between 0 and 360, but it's 30 degrees, so it makes sense that you will get an answer of 30 degrees because it says that hence solve for theta, and that's our answer for theta. And then this is 5.2.2 after simplifying to trigonometric ratio. So guys, this is where you get your marks, hey? So you get your marks for reducing. Basically, you get a mark, 1 mark. Even if your answer is not right, you're still gonna get 4 marks, you know? So you get an answer for reducing. You get an answer for changing this to its cofunction and then having this as cos theta. This is 2 marks. That's 3, and then you have 4. You have 4, and then you have also your final answer, which is sine theta, and that's where you get your 5. Right, that's where you get your full 5 marks right there. Okay guys, I'm gonna cut this here right now, and I'm gonna do the third part of the question. Thank you very much.